Hi.
Hello.
Mm, Morning.
More like afternoon, but sure, morning.
More like afternoon. Yeah, I know. I literally woke up like 45 minutes ago and I got ready so quickly and I was like uploading my YouTube video as fast as I could.
The
That's
things the
right.
things you do for me. Um, okay, so just to get started, well, I'm sure everybody knows who you are, but I feel like I should give you an intro
Oops, what's
anyway,
happening?
which
Sorry.
is
Yeah.
which is my friend Tia here is an actress. She's been an actress since the age of 17. She started a YouTube channel, which most of you would know, a very popular YouTube channel. So, congratulations.
Thanks.
Um, so that you can connect with others around the world and also use it as a form of a platform for her creative expression. And before we start, Tia, do you have any thoughts? Do you have
I'm
anything you
just
want to say?
excited to do this with you guys. Like Natalie and I go way back, like way back. She was my roommate.
Yeah, I was her roommate. Yeah, we had a lot of toast. Let's just put it that way.
Okay,
Yeah.
guys, it was just that my system couldn't handle some of the food that was in Punjab, so I wanted to be very like cautious. So all I had was toast for breakfast, toast for lunch, toast for dinner.
And my job was to argue with the people in our guest house to give her toast at breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
They were like, "What?" They're like, "We can't do toast." She's like, "If you can make all these amazing dishes, why can't you do toast?" Because they
Hey,
wanted us to pay that price. I'm
I'm
telling you.
telling you, if they can make a chicken, what was it called, labab dar, they can make a toast. Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway, moving on before we bore people with our random stories. Um, I think I think our starting point for our conversation today is the fact that you chose an online platform, first of all, or and specifically YouTube.
Mhm.
So I think let's start with that. Like, why YouTube?
So for me, when I around 4 years ago, it's been 4 years, uh, before I had posted a video.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, I saw a lot of people on YouTube, and I began seeing a lot of South Asian people on YouTube. And at that time, it wasn't like Instagram was so popular. It wasn't like we had TikTok or we had anything like that. YouTube was that platform where I saw so many people gaining so many subscribers and being able to communicate with them constantly. And I was like, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to connect with these people. And in the YouTube comment section, it was just like it was people from around the world, which I really loved. Like, it's harder to grow on Instagram, it's harder to grow on other social medias, but it's tougher to grow on YouTube. But the
Mm-hmm.
moment you do, it's like this huge accomplishment. So I was like, you know what? I want to see, is it possible for me to keep surpassing these benchmarks I'm placing for myself, be it 10,000 subscribers, 20,000, 30,000, and keep going? And it just started rising. YouTube became that place where I knew that if I put my voice out there, it will go around the world. So it was like very simple. Like Instagram, it's still locked into like specific people who it might come up on your recommendations or anything, but YouTube is like that platform where the second people see that title and link, they just click it and they're like, we want to hear the story, we want to know what's happening. So it
Mm-hmm.
just became a platform where I knew my voice would be louder than any other platform.
Mm-hmm. But you've posted a lot of different kind of content. Like, you've done
Yeah.
skits, you've done dance stuff, you've done personal like stories. Before like launching your channel, did you have a plan of like what you wanted to put, or did you kind of just like wing it as you?
I winged it. I literally winged it. I just first I was like, I want to have a channel where I can talk about positivity because like I've had like history where I've been bullied and stuff like that. So I thought, you know what? Why not spread positivity, be able to connect with other people and be able to take them away from their pain or sorrows or whatever they're going through temporarily just to watch my videos. But then it started off with like, hey, I'm going to preach positivity, to hey, I want to do skits, to hey, why am I not doing dance videos, to hey, like, why am I not sharing my adoption story?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it just traveled and became this all-rounded family channel. Like, I can post anything. I don't need to limit myself. If I want, I can post a skit one week. If I want, I can post a dance. I can post anything I want. So it just kind of grew.
But if you were like starting like because you're saying that you've been winging it this entire period of time. If you could go back now and tell somebody who's in your position today, like somebody starting out and thinking maybe I want to create a YouTube channel, what would you say to them? Would you um what would you change in your own journey if you could give them advice?
I would say the biggest thing is be ready to put yourself on an online social media platform like YouTube, because you're going to be subjected to a lot of negativity, a lot of positivity, but you are going to be subjected to that. Be prepared. Like, even though I thought I was mentally prepared, eventually when a video of mine blew up, I realized I wasn't as mentally prepared back then. And the hate started getting to me. And a friend of mine was like, listen, why don't you just take down the video if you feel uncomfortable, even though the video had nothing wrong in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like battling with myself on that. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to take the video down. I'm like, it's fine. Everyone, like, there's over 150,000 likes on that video and like 20,000 dislikes. Very little. Like, I have to think about that. But had I given myself that piece of advice, like, be not just think that, oh, you know how hate is going to come or like what you're going to see online. Be prepared for the unknown. And that
Mm-hmm.
was the unknown for me, because it was way too much hate at that point. I thought you might get like negative comments here and there. It was a lot. So that's the biggest thing I would say. Be ready to be subjected to other people's opinions constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Somebody over here has asked a question about like being camera shy. Like, did that ever affect you at any point when you were starting this out?
She
And
don't
how did
think
you work through
so. I was never camera shy. I was that person that, like, if the camera's on, I want to be you're laughing because you know me. I want to be full-fledgedly in front of that camera. I want to be center of attention. So I never had to deal with being camera shy, but I do deal with someone in my family who is camera shy. My mom is very camera shy. So if I talk a little bit more than her, sometimes people might say, "Oh, you're not letting your mom talk." It's because she's very camera shy. So when I talk, she gets even more comfortable. So for her, like what she told me, the best thing for her is that keep putting me on camera and I'll slowly keep getting comfortable.
it? Mm-hmm.
Because she's like, I have no choice to be out there. I'm like, yeah, you have no choice. I won't put you in my videos.
And I think that's a great answer to the person who asked this question. I think it's one of those situations like you know me, I'm the reverse. Like, I'm not great on camera, so for me being
Yeah.
myself is a challenge.
Yeah.
These live sessions, but I think it's when you challenge yourself and put yourself out there is
When you
and also
start,
like start small, do it with somebody
yeah.
you're comfortable with, and then I think it builds from there.
Yeah.
Uh,
And when you start, there's no stopping then.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's what it
Truly,
is. It's an
truly.
accomplishment. Look at you. Look at you started. You had this idea of what you want to do and you started and you put yourself on social media. Now look, you've been arranging these interviews with people and it's amazing. You're still going at it. You're consistent with it and you're getting more and more comfortable.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's a huge part of the growth process, which comes to another question that somebody actually sent me, which I think is very important in terms of positivity and in terms of growth for a lot of youth today. It's how do you work on like self confidence? Like, how do you bring that kind of I know that like we know each other personally, so we know the kind of journeys emotionally we've been through. But how do you work through that, like to have that kind of confidence, especially if you're putting yourself out there in a public forum?
Oh my God. For me, like, I don't know, like it's different for everyone. It's a different route. For me, it was that self-confidence actually came from negativity, surprisingly. It just kind of like fueled my fire even more. Like anytime someone would attack my looks or attack the way I speak or attack like my family or whatever, it just became kind of like a driving force for me to continuously keep posting videos and keep doing it. And the biggest thing was for self-confidence was I need to learn to accept everything about me. The way I am, the way I look, my height, everything. Like every single thing back then, years ago, that I was insecure about, I had to accept before coming onto social media, because I knew the second I'm on social media, the craziness of it. But building that self-confidence took years. I mean, people think that self-confidence can happen within a year, within months. It's actually not true. It's years and years of hard work and accepting who you are. And also the biggest thing with self-confidence is who you surround yourself with. Yeah, if you're online on social media, cool, you're posting your stuff, cool. These people don't know you. You need to have a very strong backbone and a strong support system that know you thick and thin. And that's very important. That helps your self-confidence. And especially having like a good family setting really helps, because I know there's situations where people don't have those good family settings, so their home isn't their safe spot, and then their self-confidence just diminishes. And that's when it's very important to pick and choose your friends. So that's what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Like I chose you.
Aw. And I'm lucky. I'm lucky to have a friend like Tia, who supported me through a lot. Let me tell you, and who has boosted my self confidence a lot in the past 5 years that we've known each other, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but I would say that I think, given the fact that everybody knows, like when you like social media, any online platform or public platform in that sense, comes with a lot of like both sides of it, right? There are pros and cons. On one hand, you get to like communicate with so many people around the world and connect and make these like relationships with people you don't know, but at the same time you also, like you said, get attacked and there's a lot of negativity. Like, and I think especially right now, given that we're in like isolation and quarantine and everything that we're dealing with, mental health is such a huge issue, like,
Yeah.
because there are a lot of people who are now coming to terms with mental health, their own mental health, and also the mental health of those around them. um, how did you deal with it in terms of keeping your mental health as a priority during this period of time, as you were launching yourself, and you were much younger then, right? Like, so like the growth process between then and now, like you would have been a different person then than you are now. How did you work through that?
So basically, with this whole pandemic, when it first started, um, I dived myself into content creating so much. For 1 month, I was go, go, go. And I was like, this is good. I'm like, we're at home. Like, I can create so much. I have no excuse not to create. I have no excuse not to work on myself, work on my body, all of that other stuff. That was the first month. Then you realize you don't know how long this is going to be. Then the second month came, and my mental health started declining. Second and third month were very tough. Like, it was constantly like crying, anxiety, all that, because I didn't know, none of us knew what was happening. On top of that, not being able to see your loved ones was very tough. And still, like, even now we're able to see them a bit, but we can't touch them, right? And it was taking a toll. And every day content creating becomes very tiring. Like, you have to take that time to yourself, right? So what I did was, during that month, I let myself go, as in, like, I didn't focus on, I have to create content, I have to do this. No, I said, I'm going to focus on me. I'm going to try to work on me. I'm going to try to work on, maybe I'm going to meditate. Maybe I'll start reading more. Maybe I'll start going for walks. I never went for walks
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that, being out in nature, all that other stuff. It helped me. This pandemic helped me divert everything that I used to put out there to me. Like, I preach positivity, but I need to become positive. I can't preach it if I'm not in a good state of mind. I try my hardest to be,
Mm-hmm.
always upbeat and happy. People know me as a very bubbly person, and then every time they describe me bubbly, I'm like, you guys don't know how much I might be hurting inside, or what's going on with me. Um, but basically, just learning to pick myself apart was the biggest thing that really helped me through this pandemic, because even though there were a lot of tears, there were a lot of that, there were a lot of breakthroughs. I learned so much about me. And now, fast forward a couple of months later, if I can create content, I have those days, I'm like, okay, 3 days a week, I'm going to create content. The other days, I'm going to work on my body. I'm going to work on my mental health. I'm going to work on meditating. I'm going to work on family time. I'm going to work on seeing the few people that I need to see. And that's very, very important to me.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I'm always kind of continuously working, because I just can't shut the work mode out of my head. But now I'm just able to focus on me, and that's helped me get through this pandemic. I can sit there and sit in silence. I don't need my phone going off. I don't need to be talking to anyone. It's very simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But in terms of mental health in general, as somebody who's a YouTube personality and dealing with this negativity, for somebody joining in right now, or somebody on any online platform, not just YouTube in that sense, whether it's Instagram or whatever, um, how did you push past the negativity? Because a lot of people, like, I can speak for myself in that sense, like, you start and then you either don't get the number of likes, so you don't like get those comments, or you don't, like, or you get a lot of negative backlash for it.
Yeah.
How do you push past all that negative, like, that the negative cloud, I would say, like, and like just keep doing what you're doing, like what
So basically like it's just a matter of understanding that a lot of people are behind a computer screen and think that they just because they're behind a computer screen, they can talk, they can make these remarks and all of that. Like they will never come to your face and say it. That's one of the things I learned. So what I learned mainly was that everyone's gonna come in with their different state of mind. Either someone's going through a very troublesome time, or they've always been brought up being hounded at, so they're gonna hound at other people. I always think like every time I see a negative comment, like as much as I do like to talk back because I have a tendency to, because it's just who I am, I also feel very sad because if you're negative, it's just like I think, how sad is your life right now? And that's what I think about. And thinking about that really helped me combat any negativity. Because I remember I had a negative comment. I'll always remember this comment. I had a negative comment and I responded and I just said, I am so sorry for whatever you're dealing with and I hope it shall pass. The person responded, how do you know I'm dealing with something? I'm like, you're spewing negativity. And the person was like, I am dealing with something. And I think that was also the triggering point for me to realize, like, damn, like, okay, I just thought that maybe you would be dealing with something because you're posting negativity. I didn't think you actually were. Like, it was just, you know, and I learned that and I was like, wow, like so that's the best way to surpass negativity is to understand these people are hurting. These people don't come from that state of mind. Their vibrations are very low. They need to do work on themselves. It's not my job to tell them to do work on themselves. All I can do is keep preaching positivity. I can respond in a nice way. I can do the kill them with kindness. But in the end, it's their life experiences and how they're going to treat other people that's going to bring them up and shape them into the person that they are. But the biggest thing about negativity is understanding what the other person is going through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
heartbreaking. It's very heartbreaking. Like if someone comments, "Oh, you got adopted into a rich family," or like, "Oh, you live off your dad. Oh, you're ugly. Oh, you're fat. Oh, you need to lose weight." I'm like, first of all, if you're gonna say that about me living off my dad, I think this is what I think. I go, okay, my family's clearly in a different state of being than what they're going through. So they have something that they're lacking in their lives that they want to get to. And this is what they want to get to, probably, or more. And so that's why they're spewing negativity. If they say you're ugly, this is that. Most of the times, those those comments that come through are people that don't have an icon. Like they just like they icon as in like their profile picture. They don't have it up.
mm-hmm.
Like I think about it, right? I'm like, if you are gonna comment something negative and you don't have a picture up of yourself, there's clearly something that you're dealing with here. So just learning that is what made me handle things very lightly, very lightly. So,
You brought up an important point. I think something that you've received a lot of backlash for, like even though you shouldn't be receiving backlash for it, is your upbringing and like your family and like the advantages of that.
yeah,
Uh, you know, and I think it's very, especially now, it's something that is so like widely discussed, and I think it's important to hear the other point of view. I remember talking in my first episode to Ali Kazmi,
yeah,
about the same thing, who's coming from a background of like artists,
yeah,
and that kind of, I don't think people realize the double side to the story, like how as much as, yeah, like your parents help you get that foot through the door, which honestly, like, just to put it out there, happens not just in the entertainment industry but every single industry. That's what, like parents who care about you, they want to do that. They want to be able to help you and guide you and use their experiences to help you out. But I think it also comes with a lot of pressure because you're trying to live up to a name that's already made, somebody else's journey, somebody else's life that they've set up, and this huge word of like nepotism that's being thrown around,
yeah.
which I'm not sure sometimes whether everybody understands it, but
I don't think they
why don't you shed like
do.
some thoughts that you have on this, like growing up in that quote unquote what people label as privileged like background, and what your feelings are about this entire nepotism discussion.
The biggest thing I would say, everyone has a different struggle. We all know that. But also, if you do come from a more privileged family, let's say you got to understand you come from a more privileged family. You have to acknowledge that your foot in the door will be faster than someone else's foot in the door. But then you also have to understand that because your foot is in the door, it's probably because of a family member. So now you have a different benchmark to surpass. How are you going to surpass that? What are you going to do? I think a lot of people that come from privileged families, when I see the kids or anything not doing anything, like not doing that work on themselves, not doing things to earn money, to get, even with, like, for me, like social media, like you work to get your brand deals, to get all that other stuff. If you're not doing anything, that is so wrong. That's highly stupid, straight up. You have to be, you need to work 5 times harder to surpass that benchmark that your family has created. So that's a struggle for you. And then for the other average person, their struggle is going to be 10 times harder because they don't have the first 5 steps ahead. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest thing, to acknowledge it. And I definitely don't think there is anything wrong with nepotism. Like, if we're going to talk about, just quickly, about Bollywood, I just want to give an example. Sorry, I heard the sirens and I'm like, for a second, I'm like, my brain went somewhere else. Um, every actor or anybody in the industry, they're going to help their kids out, any industry, business, even with lawyers and stuff like that. Like, they're going to help their children out. They're going to help their children get the foot in the door. Now, the children got to work their butts off to stay in it. The issue is so Bollywood's a whole different thing, but the issue is when you bring politics into it, and then when you don't let someone else get a chance. That is wrong. But nepotism exists in every industry. You have to know that. You have to understand that. And you have to be like, all right, since I don't come from this type of family, I got to work harder. I got to find a way to have my foot in the door. A lot of people, like, they hound me for it. They're like, oh, like, I had a comment once, oh, are you having fun living off of your dad? And I saw it and I responded to it because I just had to. And I responded, duh, like, DUH. Like, what do you want me to do? I am not gonna, not credit my parents for doing what they have done and the platform that they have built. I'm not gonna, if me feeling bad about that is me feeling bad about my dad's hard work.
Mm-hmm.
You can't make me feel bad about it. In the end, he earned this. In the end, he's at this position. In the end, he's going to give his daughter a life, or any child, if you even have a boy or whatever, his child a life that the child might have not dreamt of having. That's the whole point about life, isn't it? When we work, we have these goals. We want kids. We want a family. We want so-and-so. And you know that you want to work so hard that your kids don't have the same struggle you did.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing I think a lot of people do not understand, and they just hound people who come from privileged families about it. But the thing is, the one thing I really believe is that, and I said it before, if you come from such a background, know you come from such a background. Don't try to put it under the rug. Like, you're privileged, you're privileged. It's as simple as that. Say
No,
it. Yes, I'm privileged.
I think that's the most appropriate thing to say. Like, being somebody who's obviously not from the industry, coming into an industry that I have no part of, like, of course,
Yeah.
like, it's double that, kind of like, to put your foot through the door, to get there, to do that, of course.
Yeah.
But I think it's the people, and I know so many people who've come from the industry, and it's the fact that they accept and acknowledge that they do have this background, they do have this one plus advantage over somebody who's coming in for the first time. I think that's the fact, when you accept and you try to help the issue, and you try to, like, give those people the spotlight rather than ignoring the issue at all. I think it's people who ignore the issue or claim that, like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, this is my own, like, blah blah blah, and
That
not
is non-existent. Like,
yeah.
I would never be like, I got here because of my hard work. No, I got here. Yes, I worked hard to keep myself here, but I got here because of a family member. And once you acknowledge it, once you understand what your lifestyle is, and what your parents have done for you, whatever family member, no one can bring you down. Literally, anything anyone says, it's just like, okay, what do you want me to do now? Like, I'm still living here. I'm still happy. I'm okay. That's all.
Because at the end of it, like, this kind of thing gives you the advantage. It actually just, it gives you the opportunity, like, something which a lot of people don't get. Like, it gives you that opportunity, and that's the advantage, right?
Yep.
How you use that opportunity at the end of the day is still up to you. Like,
100%.
Like, you know, there's, and I think people, like, especially people online, need to like realize that, because constantly attacking somebody for their family is just not fair. Like, you know,
Not fair.
and I just honestly, hearing this entire conversation, people, like, I'm sure they ask you, which I've seen on your lives, but people in person have asked me my opinion and tried to tag me on things and do these things and go in
Yeah,
a negative zone. And I'm just like, no, like, I'm not of that belief system where we're like, people who come from that background need to be attacked. Like, you know, it's
100%.
a conversation. We need to grow together rather than growing apart. That's not going to help anybody.
Yep.
Yeah, but coming from this kind of background and coming from this kind of environment,
Hmm.
somebody asked a very important question about like gratitude and staying humble, and you know, like, so how do you stay humble, knowing that this is the kind of background that you have, or these are the advantages that you have, or even like being grateful when your mental state, especially right now, like a lot of us, it's
Yeah.
really hard, right? Being in this kind of uncertain environment, so sometimes you just feel like the negative cloud is just not going to like go away,
Yeah.
and like for your own personal mental health, and it's sometimes it's hard to be grateful or like show gratitude. Like, so how do you work on that? How do you keep it real?
I think the biggest thing is like for me, like when I wake up in the morning, I write three things that I'm grateful for,
Mm-hmm.
which is just that it's the tiniest thing. I know it's not like a big answer, it's just literally the tiniest thing. And I find different things to be grateful about. Like, for example, I found randomly to be grateful about my blanket. You know, the tiniest thing. I'm grateful that I have this mug that I spent like $14 on, like little things like that, that you realize, you know, you come from this different lifestyle. Or I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for the hard work my dad has put in. I'm grateful for Hyundai. I'm grateful for this, so and so. That little tiny thing of waking up every day and finding something that you're grateful about, it's only takes 2-3 minutes out of your life, and that's it. Just write it down, and
Mm-hmm.
every day find something new. Don't let it be repetitive. It's not even a big answer. Like, I don't even have a big answer for it because it's so minuscule. And just
Mm-hmm.
by doing that, I realize more and more. I go, huh, yeah, I should be grateful for this.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally, yeah, that's it.
Which is amazing. Like, for everybody else, Tia introduced me to this amazing book, for gratitude. I'm forgetting what it's called right now. I think it's like the Diary of Gratitude or something like that, that you gifted me, where you
Okay,
actually
yeah,
do
yeah.
this kind of thing every single
Five
day.
minute journal.
Yes, the 5 minute
Yes.
journal.
Oh, yeah, I remember I gifted it to you.
Yeah, which for whoever asked this question, and you know, for any of you out there, especially right now in such a tough time where you're trying to, where days are passing and you don't even know days are passing, if you're like me, and I think it's a great thing to do, is to do something like a 5 minute journal, in which you acknowledge, you know, what the universe has given you, your family, your friends, and
Yeah.
any small thing that, like, I'm grateful that I have this mug to drink water right
Yeah,
now. Like, you
especially
know,
during this time, like especially during this time, because your mental health is super important right now. Even like I break apart all the damn time, but it's like you just got to find those little things. Sometimes, like if I feel like I'm mentally going downhill, I go outside and I'll go for a walk, and then I just like look at nature. It's the tiniest thing to be grateful for.
totally agree with you. Totally
Yeah.
agree with you. Um, as I just take a minor pause in this thing, just to tell everybody who's with us today, thank you for joining us. And if you have any, yes, we are going to be answering questions. So if you have any questions for either of us about the industry, about growth, about life, where we're staying away at the moment from more pop culture driven questions, like, you know, like what time are you waking up, and what, you know, not because those questions are irrelevant, but more because we're focused on something that like would help learn and grow during this period of time, especially right now, and also for people who are starting out in their career journeys right now. We have a question from Amrita here saying, how do you become more successful in life? Um, do you have an answer for that?
It's
Yeah.
how you define success. Like it depends what your definition of success is. Is your definition of success, and this is totally okay to have this, being rich? Is your
Mm-hmm.
definition of success being healthy? Is your definition of success having a beautiful family? It honestly, there's no wrong or right answer on that. It's just how you define what success, being successful is to you. Like for me, being successful would be, you know, even though my dad's capable of doing it on his own, my, this is something I'm sharing, which I haven't shared like vocally, is to be able to be at a position where I can retire my dad, even though he can retire himself. But I want to be at a position where I can retire him. That to me is I'm successful. You know, so for someone it might be I want New York's best-selling book. That to them is successful.
Mm-hmm.
So what you define it to be.
Yeah, to answer that question also, I agree with that entirely. It depends on what success means to you, and I think it's also a combination of hard work and challenging yourself each and
Yeah.
every day to put yourself in a vulnerable spot, even if it's not in public, even with yourself, like challenging yourself to answer these questions that are stopping your growth
Yeah.
and acknowledging that and working
Yep.
through. Yeah. Uh, wow. In addition to that, like I feel like another question that I got from before is why acting? Why not something like business? You know, like where you could create opportunities for other people, but why acting?
A lot of people say that. Even like a lot of like my dad's you know, employees and business partners are just like, why isn't your daughter going into business? Like, what's going to happen with your business? Why isn't she doing it? You
Mm-hmm.
know, again, I acknowledge I'm privileged. I acknowledge that I can go into a career path where I didn't have to struggle as the average person. Like, you know, I see people like when I'm in acting classes, a lot of people are waitresses, a lot of people are working so and so jobs so that they can keep going and do what they love. I acknowledge that I don't have to do that. Um, but when I was 4 years old and I told my dad I want to be an actor, he first thought I was like one in Bollywood. He's like, oh, no, that's not right. And then later on, he understood that no, this is, I don't know what it is about this career that just makes me, the artwork, the art is just so beautiful to me that I love it. I grow watching acting bits. I grow reading scripts. Like I just enjoy it. And it's always like you should enjoy what your work so that it becomes like the love of your life, your passion and all of that. And for me, acting became that. I chose acting because I loved putting myself in other people's shoes and learning about them. I love depicting stories, and the biggest thing was for people to walk out of a cinema hall and go, "Whoa, like that changed my life." Right. And I already knew that when going into this, that, oh, I want to be an actress. A lot of people have these misconceptions of what acting is. They're just like, some of them will be like, oh, because you come from a privileged family, you should be able to get all these roles. You know, that's not true. A lot of other people will be like, oh, this person only has 3 films or like 1 film or 2 films, whatever, under their belt, and they call themselves an actress. That's the same thing as someone saying you call yourself a business person when you're in business school. Like, you know, like people just like to throw shade everywhere. And it's crazy to me because when I started telling people I wanted to be an actress, I kept quiet about it for a couple of years. When I started telling people, they'd be like, "Oh, so have you like, do you have any work?" And I'm like, "No, not right now." It's, like you know the industry mentally. It's just audition after audition after audition and constant training. You're still working, but like you might not be booking the jobs, but you're still working. And so people just think that it's so easy. You walk into an audition. If you don't book, it's probably because you weren't good. No, it's because they have a specific idea of what they wanted their character to be. If you don't fit that idea, that's not on you. That's just their choice, right? So I just knew when going into acting what I'm going to face and what people are going to say. So I was like pretty mentally already kind of prepared for it because I love this career so much that I was ready to take on any negativity or any hate that anyone would give. And just the fact of being in other people's shoes and depicting stories, like I don't know what's a more beautiful career than that.
Amen to that. Amen. It really is, and I think it's important for anybody who's either planning to get into this industry or launching themselves into the industry right now to understand that it's an industry that looks glam but is not very glam, you know, as an industry.
Yeah.
It's something that you really we work very long hours. We it's months and months and months that we invest into every single project. Both as an actor and as
Sometimes it's
someone.
like being not yelled at. Sometimes it's like someone with an authoritative figure as a director that you respect telling you what you're messing up on, and then you just shaking and shitting bricks, and then yeah, there's a lot involved in it. People don't understand it at all. They just think that it's so easy, and they love hounding people that, oh, what did you do? You didn't do nothing. Like, how can you call yourself an actress? Like, hell yeah, I can call myself an actress because it's the career I chose I want to be in. I'm working towards it. So, you know?
And it's both a personal journey as well as a professional journey, as in most careers. But it truly is, because we live in it's a different world that we live in. Once you
Yeah.
get onto set, once you get onto a project, you live in
Yeah.
that bubble of that plot, that story, that character,
Yeah.
both on and off camera. Like, I know that we go through our individual journeys, and we started like on this journey at a similar period of time, like in that sense, in the feature like kind of film zone. So
Yeah.
I know that I can speak for both of us in that kind of sense, and how we went through that journey together, which I
Yeah.
think is an important thing to talk about right now. Anatomy of Violence, you know, I think is something that, for those of you who don't know, is a film by my mentor and boss,
Most amazing
Deepa
person
Mehta.
ever. Deepa Mehta.
Yes, my second mom. And it was based on the Nirbhaya case that happened in Delhi. And it's something that Tia acted in, and I was cinematographer for.
Yeah.
And this is at that point where we were roommates and eating toast, if anybody was here at the beginning of this conversation. Uh, so
Ooh,
I think, how did something like that is so raw, that is so thick, what was the learning experience from that?
that was heavy. That whole like a good 2 weeks of heaviness. Um, I remember when I went in and like, there were all these like even more trained actors. Like they came from like heavy film backgrounds, like, and
Mm-hmm.
I like even Seema, like I worked with Seema Biswas, like that I was already like so nervous about, and all these other amazing actors that were on it. And I've seen some of them on screen. And so I went in as I felt like a baby for the first couple of days, and that's what I felt like I was doing wrong. All of a sudden, I snapped and I was like, you know what? Everyone's on this journey together, and everyone's actually doing something new that they might have not done previously.
Mm-hmm.
And coming to that realization, I just kind of learned it's not a matter of your how many years you trained or how many years you've been in the industry, how whatever. It's a matter of being in that moment presently and being able to work collectively to depict something that you have to depict, you know? And that kind of made me realize no one is less, no one is more. That was the biggest realization I came from. Even you were thrust into cinematography like all of a sudden, like you're like, wait, what? Oh, okay, all right. You were learning, I was learning, because I didn't come from where I had to do this workshop. The workshop was pretty intense, and of course there were mistakes. I had to be okay later on to be like, I'm gonna make a mistake, I'm gonna mess up, I probably am not gonna understand it. But when I let go and I started learning, because we did those group workshops. When I let
Mm-hmm.
go and started working with the group, that's when I realized, yeah, I'm putting in work, but it's collectively the work is coming together. They will carry me so that they can carry the story, and I'll carry them. So, and vice versa, all of that stuff. So that was the biggest takeaway I had, to let go and to understand that you're not here for yourself. You're here to depict a story, serve the story. That's the biggest thing I learned.
200%. I think my guiding light is that phrase, this is the shot. Now, whatever I see, like I feel in that way. And I
Gary,
think
get out of the shot.
right.
Gary, get out of the shot. Sorry, I just remembered that.
But I think that was the true, like, because it was such a raw and intense experience. I think
Yeah,
for all of us, I think we all learned so much from that. And
we
thank you.
really
So
did.
much gratitude for Deepa for, like all of
Being
that.
patient with
And
with all of
and
us.
Neelam G,
Yeah.
and the rest of our like workshop squad, all of them. Shout out to the Anatomy of Violence fam. To somebody who's asking the question, Anatomy of Violence isn't online anywhere yet. But when it is, I will definitely put it out there and let you guys know.
The tough one to watch.
Yeah, it is a tough film, so
uh,
that needs to be acknowledged. It's
yeah.
not a walk in the park. Um,
Imagine for us watching it over and over again.
oh no, like going through for me like the cinematography process and then coming back, then editing it, then being assistant
Yeah,
editor
you
on the
had it
film,
rough.
and then watching it through like sound and all of the other stuff, all the way till like it came to TIFF. It was really something.
Yeah.
But another really good question that's been asked, which I'd like to bring up, is we've talked a lot about family and the things, the privilege and all of that. But I think anybody, like we also grow up with lessons from our family. And what is one piece of wisdom that Uncle Nav has given you that you always carry with you?
The biggest thing is that the world just keeps moving forward. Like if you want to fall apart, you want to break apart, cool, break apart, but acknowledge that as you're breaking apart, you're setting yourself back. So every time I do let myself break apart, but every time I do, I know that I gotta come back stronger. I gotta work 2, 3 times a little harder because he's right. The world doesn't stop moving. It just doesn't, and it's
Mm-hmm.
never going to stop for you. People are not going to stop for you. People are going to walk in and out of your life, and you just have to deal with it. You can't let yourself drown in it. As much as like, when I say drown in it, I'm saying like the amount of time that you're using to drown in it. Like if you're drowning in something for years and years and years, it's like you got to acknowledge like, okay, if you're hurting, okay, but as you're hurting and through that pain, like my dad's done it so many times, you just got to keep doing your work. You got to just keep moving. Just don't stop. If you need to walk backwards, it's okay. If you need to walk forwards, it's okay. But don't stop. That's the biggest thing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And what is the one piece of advice you would want to give to somebody starting out right now, if you could give that piece of advice?
Biggest advice is it kind of ties into what I said before. Have a support system and have people that you could trust. That's like the biggest thing. You should be able to share your feelings with, if you can't share with one person, there has to be another person. That's the biggest thing, because going into a career like this, a career that can actually rip you apart, because it's true, it is a career that can rip you apart. You need to have a strong background. You need to come with a lot of support, because even if your mindset is really strong, you will fall at times, and you just need someone to hear you out and someone to push you. That's it. Everyone needs someone to push them. I always think about the whole self-made concept. Like people are like, I'm self-made, this is that. And I don't believe in it. I remember a long time ago, someone famous talked about the whole self-made thing. The thing is, even if you didn't come a privileged background, even if you came from nothing, there were people on the way that were helping you. In a way, they were helping you. Let's say, for example, I remember the example they gave was, you know, if you want to be like a successful singer and you're working on the streets, and someone came and you're singing and they dropped in $2 or $3, that helped you, you know? Or like if someone gave you food when you were running on the street or whatever it was, they helped you. Stuff like that. Like that is the tiniest things, because that keeps you to move forward. I don't believe in that whole self-made concept. Everyone has someone that has pushed them, motivated them, or talked to them, or somebody that's just helped guide them in a way. So that, yeah. So big support system. That's the biggest thing.
I love what Ramneet Sandhu said. Like, I think you should believe in yourself and do what you feel is right or wrong, and not what people want you to do. I think,
That's the biggest thing.
yeah,
We get
especially
stuck in
in
that.
the industry that we're in, where we get pulled in a lot of different directions.
Yeah,
I
you
think
get
it's hard
told.
to do that.
Yeah, you get told what to do. I remember years ago in like an acting school, an acting coach told me that I needed to lose weight, like that time. And I was like, and I never listened to the person. I didn't go and lose weight because the person said something. Nah, 4 or 5 years later is when I started working out for me, not for anyone else, just for me. But yeah, like it's an industry that's going to break you apart. They're going to try to shape you. They're going to tell you what to do, what you can say, what you cannot say, what you can tweet about, what you can like post about, you know? And that's the thing people don't realize, like you lose control over yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to keep that control, you need that background, you need that support, and you need that strong mindset as well, that you will not let anyone change your values. It's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I can tell you, there's something that like a lot of people don't know. It's not something that I've very much shared. I went to an event with like a bunch of artists, and somebody like I've just met them. I don't know anything about them.
Okay.
Decides to come up that's saying, "Oh, I feel you could be an actor," and I have no intentions of being an actor. Let me tell you, like
Yeah,
I feel you
no
could be an
intention.
actor, but you have to like you have to lose weight. If you lose weight, I think you could be a good actor. And I said,
Why do people think that it's okay to say something like that? Like, why? Like, why?
and I just found that hilarious. I said, how is this really a correlation? Like the fact that you think I'm going to be a good actor and you think that this has to be like, I'm like, yes, you just threw body positivity and so many like things out of the window right now.
It's
I'm like,
so
oh gosh.
annoying. It's like how,
And
like,
how do you come and say that to an entire stranger? Like,
yeah.
like,
Oh, you could have done this if you had done it this way. Like, shut up. Thank you for your opinion. But shut up. Like, like, and the biggest thing is, I'm not going to take that opinion. But that's somebody who comes with a stronger mindset who can say that. There's people who would break when they hear that. It hurts them. It's like they literally picked on something that the person could be insecure about. Like, how dare you? Like, oh, that's a whole different thing.
yeah, yeah. Which we know that we've worked through something like that together. Like, you've seen me deal with it and vice
Yeah,
versa. So
yeah,
I think, um, even within personal relationships with friends and family, that like it's something.
yeah.
Uh, Judgment comes from a lot of different places, and yeah, it's not just strangers. Um, there's somebody here who keeps saying that they need advice from you. I would like to tell you, if you put your question, we can get it answered. Um, that would be quite helpful.
Yes.
And in speaking about like, so what from this point, like you've pretty much like conquered YouTube, like and you're just growing leaps and bounds. What is something that you've learned during this period of time and isolation and stuff that now you're like, once the new normal hits or whatever that is, um, what is that one thing that you feel like you need to take from this period of time and carry as like part of your life philosophy from now on?
That it's okay to step back. Like, and I'm not saying stop. It's okay to step back from content creating or anything for a little bit, just to rejuvenate yourself. And I think that's in anything. If we have the ability, our parents, our immigrant parents, they worked hard to have this life. They couldn't step back. They had to keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
We're lucky that we've been given a life where we can step back. We have time. A lot of them didn't even have time for meditation back then. Our parents could take the time out now and stuff, but or even for us, we can take time out. We can say we want to go to yoga class. We want to go hang out with our friends. They couldn't do all of that, right? So that's the biggest thing. To understand that now we're more privileged and we can take time on ourselves and step back, because with social media growing, there's also cyberbullying. There's a lot of hate, a lot of information that gets thrown at you, because at that time, our parents were just headstrong about what they wanted to do and how they wanted to take care of their family. They didn't know exactly what was going on around the world as much. You just know it when you turn on the news channel. But for us, you open social media, everything is there.
Mm-hmm.
It gets overwhelming. It's okay to take a step back, do the work that you got to do on yourself, because if you're not mentally good, you're not going to be able to put any good out there. So, yeah.
Somebody
Like,
has asked a question, like it was a very long, I'm summarizing here,
okay.
about like body positivity within relationships, within romantic relationships, and how you're confident in your body, especially when you don't think. It's somebody who was saying that, burying themselves in front of like their boyfriend. Like, I don't know if my boyfriend will like it, kind of thing. Like, how do you
Yeah.
gain that kind of confidence and deal with that?
I've had moments where I've done that, where I'm just like, I don't feel good about myself, and because maybe the other person isn't giving the attention that, you want. And I've gone through it, and it's up and down, but always coming back to that realization that, like, their opinion of me is not what I should hold to be of highest value. Like, if they said something negative, that's what I'm saying. Like, if they said, oh, like, you know you need to lose weight, or they look at other girls' bodies more and stuff like that. First of all, like, that would be like a bigger red flag. That's a whole different discussion you should be having. But the biggest thing is, to in your relationship, to be able to be secure with your own body. It's okay to fall back. It's okay to, like, not feel good. It's okay to feel ugly. It is totally okay.
Mhm.
But also know that that's a temporary feeling, that you're going to move past it. Once you begin to love yourself so much more, you love the good and the bad and the ugly parts about you. And that's it. Literally it.
And truly, like, I mean, I talk to a lot of people who are in relationships about this, and like friends and other people, even strangers have told me about this, ironically. But I think that's something that you've said is so right, that you need to be comfortable. You need to not hold their opinion as the benchmark for
Yeah.
who you
And it's
are.
something I'm still learning. Like, it's still like it's a learning process.
Mhm.
It's an everyday thing for anybody you're with, or like your relationships with your family, your friends, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever it is. It's a learning process. Don't
Yeah,
be hard on yourself.
100%. And I think it's for whoever asked this question, I think it's also important to remember that you need to be comfortable in your own skin. You need to feel that. And somebody who doesn't accept you for who you are, and I'm sure you are a beautiful and amazing human being, like, no matter
Yeah.
who that person is, um, don't let them control your perception of yourself.
The biggest thing is
Um,
they have to accept you for who you are. That's it. Like,
yeah,
it
yeah,
doesn't, to be honest, it doesn't matter. Even if, like, on social media they see another girl or whatever, and they just like the photo or whatever, stuff like that. Like, it doesn't really matter, as long as they are not the ones, like, they're not the ones telling you to change. That's
yeah,
the biggest thing. If they're telling you to change, that's an issue. If they've accepted you,
yeah.
buddy.
Whether friendships, relationships, any kind
Yeah.
of, like, if like, accept, I would say, accept each other for
Yeah.
who you are, love each other for who you are, um and, like, just be who you are. I think you're all beautiful human beings, and I you don't deserve any less than that.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
don't settle for it. It's I think we both can speak for this. It's not a path you want to go down, like, because it
Nope.
alters you, and it is a learning curve for everybody. Sometimes you have to go through these tough situations to be able to have this kind of perspective, and it's definitely a growth thing.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think somebody else again is asking a question about how you're so confident, and I think it comes a lot with that, which we were talking about before, which is, it's a question that she's answered before, is a lot to do with accepting yourself, and, like,
The good and the bad. You
yeah.
gotta accept the bad. You have to, have to, have to, have to.
Hmm. Hmm. In terms of, like, the kind of journey that you're having, right now, and where you're going, and um, what would you say is your biggest challenge, like, moving forward? Like, what is your challenge, your personal challenge that you're taking on from right now?
My personal challenge from what I'm taking on right now is, it goes back to the same thing of the goal of wanting to retire, my parents. That's my personal challenge. My personal struggle is, yeah, I know I have a foot in the door, but also staying in there. And personal struggle is going through those auditions where you get rejected constantly, and still constantly are like, no, I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep going for these auditions, because that one day you're going to book that job, that one day your life is just going to change in a positive way. And I keep thinking of that. And I keep thinking of like all the things I want to do for the people around me. Like I'm that person. I'm not like, oh, okay, when I become somebody that I want to be, I'm just going to take care of myself. No. For me, it's I want to take care of those around me. You know, if I have a friend who is a dancer and he or she wants to be a choreographer, whatever it is, and they're not capable of it right now. If I grow, I can help them. So like it's a personal struggle that I have of wanting to take care of those who have taken care of me. And so I know the amount of work I need to put in to be able to rise higher. And the higher I rise, the better I can help these people. So yeah.
I love what Tia Rebello 22 said. Let your smile change the world, but don't let the world change your smile. Like, I think that's a beautiful thought. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Somebody here has asked, like, what was your experience working with Deepa?
I loved it. I have so much respect for her. So there's a difference between, you know, a lot of people like are scared of someone. I was not scared. I had so much respect that I didn't want to disappoint. It's a lot, same thing a lot of people feel about my dad too. Um, like I know her creative vision. I see it, and like she's amazing at what she does, and she puts every ounce of her in it, you know, and you want to make sure that you're not letting those ounces diminish, like you're keeping it there. And the work experience with her was life changing because again I learned to let go. I learned that like I said, no one is further, no one is less. It's just a matter of being there in the moment and surveying the story. And working with her helped me really realize that. Even like as when I was an assistant for Biba Boys, I learned just the way she works, that she puts her whole heart in it. No matter what is going on, you can have so much drama going on, you can have all this stuff going on, she's going to still stay focused on that work. And that's the one thing I took away, like tunnel vision is what I took away from her.
Mm-hmm. Just letting you know where the live session's ending, so if it does end, I will reconnect. Um, but yeah, like, and to whoever asked that question and whoever's saying Deepa Mehta is amazing, 2000% agree with you. I love her. Like she's somebody I speak to like every single day. She's my boss. She's my mentor, my second
Yeah,
mom, constant inspiration. For the almost like next month, it's gonna be 5 years.
guys, and it's not
That
it's not a joke when Metli is saying that Deepa Ji is her boss. No, Deepa Mehta is her boss. Like Metli works under her.
truly,
Yeah,
truly,
literally.
and it's no joke. It's I think the biggest experience of my life and the best. You know, the most. It's pushed me off like so many cliffs. There are not enough words for me to describe my relationship with Deepa and how much Deepa means to me.
Yep.
I think there's nothing to describe that experience except saying that I get inspired personally, professionally, every single moment of every single day. And I've been working with her for almost 5 years now. So
Yeah.
that's a long time. And I still feel like I was on day one, which is in awe. And the brilliant human being, the brilliant director, the brilliant person that she is.
Yeah.
Both her and David, her partner, so grateful to both of them for so much.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for rejoining, by the way. I know the
Yes.
live got cut.
Yes. Hey,
So
like,
Messi and I can talk forever.
yeah, it's a problem. We definitely have a problem. Like we said, we've been roommates, so you know that we can talk. Like otherwise, being in a room together would be kind of boring.
Yep.
Just saying hi to everybody once again, and yes, we love you too. Someone asked a question about like, can can you teach them how to act? And just as a person behind the camera, I would say there are a lot of great resources out there, amazing like acting schools, acting coaches,
Yeah.
acting sessions, acting events, both
Yeah.
online, offline. There's a lot going on, so use our dear friend Google, and
Yep.
Google will point you in the direction of amazing people across the world, both in film, in TV, in theater, like all of it, who will be able to give you some pointers on that.
Yep.
Um, in fact, in my last session with actor producer Stephanie McKenzie. She talked a lot about starting out as an actor. So if you want to check that out, she also talked about a lot of things that you can look at if you want to start out as an actor.
Yeah.
In terms of, I don't know, like I have so many questions I could ask you.
Keep
Like I
going.
feel like this is me. Like, what thoughts do you want to share right now? Like I'll let me give you the mic and say now it's in your control. What do you want to talk about?
Mm, honestly, I don't know because we just keep talking. Like we just have a tendency to just keep going about everything. I genuinely just I feel like we tackled a lot of conversations, which was really nice and like such a short amount of time to be able to put that within an hour. Like 8 hours is a small amount of time for this whole conversation that we're having. But I think we hit every single point on the dot pretty much. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But watch, Messi and I are gonna come up with something else and then the conversation is gonna keep going.
Okay, let's actually ask this question, considering like, we're trying to aim for not like an interview kind of thing, but I've asked a lot of questions. If
Yeah.
you had to ask me something, you know me very well, what would you ask me?
The biggest thing is for you especially, like I know how like you got the job with Deepa Mehta, which is amazing. My question to you is when you went into this, see, I know the answer because we've had a conversation about it. When you got the job and you went into this, did you know exactly what you were signing up for?
Believe me, even now I have no idea what I've signed up for, and it's been years. I think so. When, just to give everybody a background, 5 years ago I graduated from film school here in Toronto, and which was at York University. Before anybody asked me that question,
Yep.
amazing film program.
Yep.
Um, I had no idea what to do next. And thanks to like my family and like Deepa, who I'd met because of I'd interviewed her for a film that I'd done in my final year. And then it was kind of like, oh, like, would you like to work with me? Like, and it was a kind of a discussion based on that. And why would I ever like not want to do that? So actually getting a mentor was a goal that I had, saying, oh, like 5 years into the industry, maybe at that point I'll get a mentor, which
Yeah.
I was very, very, very lucky. And I'm very honored to get like a mentor like her and like David
Yeah.
so early on, right? What, 2 months after I graduated.
Literally.
And I started off as an intern. Um, See, as an intern, I feel like you're expecting anything. You're like, anything is going to be thrown at you.
Yeah.
So I feel like that way, like my expectation was kind of met because I felt like I'd be doing everything, Like I
Yeah.
remember it was when we were prepping for TIFF for Biba Boys. So we were looking at, like, I felt like if somebody's looking at my Google search page would probably like really suspect me for something, because I was like looking up like where to buy mannequins and like mannequin heads and
Oh
mannequin
my
and
God.
like all these things for like, and I was like, oh gosh. Um, but I think beyond that, like when I came to India for Anatomy of Violence, like it had started off. Anybody who knows the journey of Anatomy of Violence was very like different. Like we'd come to India to do this workshop with an amazing, amazing, amazing theater director, Neelam Chaudhary.
Mm-hmm.
Neelam ji is, I've learned so much from her over the years.
Yeah.
Um, and we were going to do this workshop based on, like I said, the themes of the Nirbhaya case. And based on that, like my job was to record and transcribe what we did every single day, and then potentially turn that into a script. But on day 2 of the workshop, Deepa comes to me and she says, "You know what? This is the film. Like, and this is it. Like, this is it. Like, and
Oh my God,
give
I remember
like."
that.
So she moved me from being like just like a fly on the wall, like with this camera, to like in it. And like I can tell you that not one single day that no matter how prepared I was, did I actually know what was going to happen. And
Yeah.
you know this, you were there. Um, like it was truly amazing working with each and every person in part of that process,
Yeah.
whether it's Deepa or Neelam Ji or um, every like actor in that. Like I've learned so much from so many different theater actors. I've spoken at like my first language is English. Speaking like Hindi
Hmm.
every single day was obviously again like a
Yeah.
different for me. But then coming from that as a launch pad and then editing and like doing so much, I think the best part of this industry and the best part of my journey so far is not knowing. I feel like not knowing has like challenged me so much, and I've never had a plan. So
Yeah.
I think, uh, like I've just kept learning, and that's honestly what I think I would recommend to anybody in who's trying to start out as a filmmaker. I would
Hmm.
say keep your mind open to learning. Keep your mind open to like any opportunity. Anybody can teach you anything. Right, whether it's I've worked in a huge crew for like a Netflix project, and I've learned so much from like spot boys and um, like people who worked for like like art departments and
Yeah.
assistants, and I've learned so much from all of them, and I'm truly grateful for all of that. So I feel there are a
Yeah.
lot of people who've contributed to my clueless journey, um, and yeah, like I feel like people have had more expectation from me than I've had from what to expect from this journey. Especially given the fact that I started off as a cinematographer for Deepa for Anatomy. Anybody who saw that, because apparently people looked me up before I came for projects, and
Yeah.
so people started taking me way too seriously, and I was like, this is my first like major thing. Like I'm learning from you, but yeah, like I like even from you, like I feel like I've learned so much from you.
Mm.
uh Tia has been my like guide for anything social media related. um so yeah, like anything she says, guys, it works. It definitely like um anything she said so far, I feel for anybody starting out is a great like sketch for like what you should be prepared for what you should know, and do your research and work hard.
Yeah.
I feel like there are a lot of people saying a lot of things in this process. Let me see if there are any major questions. So give me a second.
Sounds good.
Mhm. Wow, hi to everybody from so many different places, from Turkey, from England, from like I have no idea.
Guys, put down in the comment section where you are from. I
We
would
love
love to know that.
me too. Guyana, India, Canada. Oh, okay. So somebody's asked a question about a YouTube video you did where you did a vision board.
Mm.
What do you think? Um, does the law of attraction, does this entire concept of doing a vision board really work?
I think it does because it's not just, oh, you create a vision board and things are going to come true. It's you have a vision board, so you know your goals. Your goals are right in front of you. So you wake up every day and you look at those goals. So you have to do something every day so that you accomplish those goals. You have to put in work. It's not like I believe in law and attraction 100%, but what I don't believe in is sitting on your ass. You know, you have your law of attraction and you have to work hard to be able to get to those goals. It's just nice to have it there in your vision because every day it's in your mind mentally that this is what I have to do in order to move forward, in order to progress, in order to accomplish what I need to do. Yeah.
Fantastic. So it helps manifest, but at the end of the day, if you don't put in your effort,
Then there's no manifestation happening.
point.
Like then
Yeah,
there's no
just putting
point of
something else
doing what you're
on.
doing.
I think that's a great thing to say. And for all our people, I know you've all sent where you're from: Vienna, Guyana, Manchester, India, Pakistan, Canada. I don't know who I'm missing right now. I feel like there were a lot of different Punjab, Portugal, Tunisia, Australia. Wow. It's really amazing that all of you could join us today, and we're gonna wrap up now. Otherwise, our conversations just don't end. Yeah,
They
yeah,
literally
our
don't
friends
end.
from Toronto, um, and our Raptors fans. Thank you, all of you, for tuning in. Cheers to all of you. Tia, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Um, biggest thing is just to say to you all that, you know, consistently keep working to whatever you want to go towards and don't listen to those negative voices. And if you choose to listen to it, use it to fuel your fire. Don't let it diminish your fire. You know, that's the biggest thing. And it just to keep moving forward. Like every single thing that we just talked about, everything just in summarization, keep moving forward and don't listen to that other noise, because in the end they're the ones spewing hate, negativity, because something's wrong in their life, and you'll be moving forward and accomplishing those goals.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
That was a truly a summary of like our conversation, and also like a huge piece of advice to anybody
Yeah.
starting out right now in this uncertain time. Um, and thank you. I just want to say thank you, Tia, for taking out the time to be
Of
here today.
course.
Also,
Of
thank you
course.
for being such an amazing friend and amazing person to share this journey with on this series, and also generally in life.
Do you do this
You're
once a week?
family to me, so I'm lucky to have that.
Do you do it once a week, or do you do it like
Once a week. Once
once
a
a
week.
week?
Generally every weekend. This is episode 5.
Yeah.
And there are a whole bunch of people on the way. So still work in progress. Anybody you'd like, if anybody out there, if there's anybody specific that you would like to see, or any person that you think that you know in your life who you feel like should get this kind of platform to talk about what
Mhm.
they do, for sure reach out. I'm available on Instagram, or anywhere else if you find me anywhere else. um, and on that note, thank you, Tia. Thank you, everybody who's here from across the world. We appreciate you. I appreciate you, sending good vibes, positive energy to all of you across the world. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, like, hope to see you in the coming weeks as well. Thank you for all the comments and conversation. See you
Thanks,
soon.
guys. You're amazing. And thanks, Metali. You're the best. And I will end up talking to you in a bit.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. Love you guys. Love you, Metali. Bye.